The headline dropped on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2025, and it was definitely not a quiet holiday.
Not at all. It was a real tactical shockwave.
The alert just flashed everywhere. Video. Ukraine destroys Russian Gerbera drone before takeoff.
And that headline, it sounds simple, but the implications are just enormous. It signals a huge shift in how this war is being fought.
I'm Alex, and with me is Araya for the latest Deep Dive by Defense Report. We do sharp, no-nonsense breakdowns of global defense, military tech, and, well, big strategic developments like this one. And hey, if you're getting value from this, please subscribe to Defense Reports. It's your go-to for timely, in-depth reports.
Today, we are absolutely going to unpack that headline. We're looking at the unprecedented destruction of a Russian Gerbera drone, not in the air, but right on its launch platform.
And this was carried out by Ukraine's elite 412th Separate Unmanned Systems Brigade, the unit they call Nemesis.
The real question is, why is taking out one cheap drone before it even flies such a massive deal?
Because it's a strategic pivot. It's the moment Ukraine moved from just, passive air defense.
Right, just shooting things down.
Exactly, to proactively going after the enemy's drone infrastructure. The battlefield just got bigger.
And this one event connects to some of the, well, frankly, most alarming parts of modern warfare.
We've got some huge questions we're tackling. First, the economics of it all. How is Ukraine using, get this, $5,000 interceptor drones
An incredible number.
to destroy decoys that Russia designed specifically to bankrupt multi-million-dollar NATO air defense systems?
We'll also dive into the Nemesis Brigade's toolkit. We have to talk about their Baba Yaga bombers and how Starlink connectivity completely changed the game for their deep strike missions.
And finally, this isn't just about Ukraine. The Gerbera has become a tool for hybrid warfare, poking and prodding sensitive NATO airspace. We're talking Poland, Lithuania.
Which connects this one tactical strike directly to the security of all of Europe.
Okay, let's start with that pre-launch strike. Hitting a drone before it even takes off. Why is that so rare? I mean, why is catching a Russian crew on the ground such a big win?
It's incredibly rare because these Russian drone crews are experts at what they call shoot and scoot.
So they set up, launch, and they're gone.
Immediately. They drive to some random, inconspicuous spot, launch the drone, and they vanish. It's all about minimizing their exposure time. They don't want to get hit by counterfire or, hunted by an FPV drone.
But Nemesis caught them red-handed.
They did. The 412th, specifically operators from their integrated Asgard unit.
BFPV specialists.
Right. They used a high-altitude recon UAV to find them. And there it was, the Gerbera, mounted on its launch vehicle, just sitting there. A perfect target.
Hold on, so they risk a valuable recon drone, probably plus an attack drone, just to take out a $10,000 Gerbera? That seems like a bad trade on the surface.
That's the key question, right? And the answer is they weren't targeting the drone. They were targeting the capacity.
Ah, the launcher. The vehicle itself.
The launcher, the train, true. The whole setup. A single Gerbera is cheap, yes. But the specialized vehicle, the crew's training, that's not cheap. And taking them out stops dozens of future launches.
So this is about creating friction, slowing down the whole Russian operation, not just swatting one fly.
Exactly. It's proactive attrition. You're not just dealing with the threat in the air. You're dismantling the factory, so to speak. It saves Ukraine a fortune in air defense missiles down the line.
To really get why that's so important, we need to talk about what this Gerbera drone actually is. This gets us into Russia's whole decoy strategy.
The Gerbera, or USINT in Russian, is it's essentially a super simplified, dirt-cheap version of the Shahed 136. It's built from the ground up to be disposable, a tool of economic warfare.
And when you say low cost, you mean like almost hobbyist level cheap?
We're talking an internal plywood frame with a polystyrene foam body. It's light, maybe 18 kilos. But the magic number is the cost, around $10,000.
$10,000 compared to, what, $150,000 for a real Shahed 136?
At least. And then you have the Western air defense missile to shoot it down, which can cost $1 million or more.
So the Gerbera's real mission isn't to explode on a target, it's just to get shot at.
That's Operation False Target. Russia launches swarms of these things alongside their real Shaheds and cruise missiles. The Gerbera looks like a Shahed on radar, so Ukrainian operators have a choice. Fire $1 million interceptor or risk letting a real warhead through.
It's a terrible choice. You're forced to spend a fortune shooting down styrofoam. It's designed to bleed Ukraine's economy and its missile stockpiles dry.
It's economic attrition, but it's also intel gathering. Every time an air defense system lights up to engage a decoy, Russia gets to map its location. They're finding the valuable targets for their next wave of strikes.
And this is where the global supply chain piece gets so interesting. How are they building so many so cheaply?
Because it's all commercial, off-the-shelf tech. You take one of these things apart and you find parts you can buy online. The engine is often a Chinese DLE-60, a little 60cc engine. Costs about $500.
So sanctions are almost impossible to enforce.
Very difficult. You also find Western chips from companies like Analog Devices or Texas Instruments, right next to Chinese electronics from CUAV Technology. It's a global parts bin.
And I saw a report about them finding an industrial router on a downed Gerbera. What's that about?
Yes, a Shenzhen Sinasun router. That's for the mesh network.
Hmm.
It's a critical upgrade for a cheap system like this.
A mesh network. So the drones talk to each other.
Exactly. It allows the whole swarm to share data. They act as repeaters. If you jam or destroy one drone, the network doesn't collapse. The others just route the signal around the dead node.
So Ukraine isn't just fighting individual drones, they're fighting a coordinated, resilient network of decoys. That makes the defense problem way more complex.
It absolutely does, and it extends their effective range. It's a very clever, very cheap way to make your threat much harder to deal with.
And the unit that has become Ukraine's answer to this is the 412th Brigade Nemesis. Let's talk about them, because their growth has been meteoric.
It's a perfect example of a military adapting at high speed. They were only formed in late 2023, just as a battalion. But the battlefield demanded more.
So they started scaling up.
Rapidly. By November 2024, they were pulling in specialized groups, like that Asgard FPV unit we mentioned.
One that gave them new capabilities.
It did. They were a full regiment by December 2024, and by late 2025, they were expanded to a full brigade, going from a battalion to a brigade in under 2 years. That tells you how critical unmanned systems have become.
Nemesis is probably most famous for its heavy hitters, the drones the Russians call Baba Yaga.
Right, these are big multi-rotor bomber drones. They're absolute monsters. Their specialty is night operations. They use high-end thermal cameras to find tanks and other targets in total darkness.
And the key tech that lets them operate so deep behind enemy lines is satellite communication.
That's the real game changer. You're using Starlink. This bypasses the limits of normal radio, the radio horizon. They don't lose signal just because they fly over the curve at the Earth.
Which means they can hit targets 60 kilometers deep or more.
And their track record is, well, it's unbelievable. They claimed over 1,000 targets hit in January 2025 alone. But their main job is hunting the hunters.
Russian air defense systems.
The very systems meant to protect the launch crew's Nemesis is now targeting. They'd taken out over 30 SAM systems by early 2025.
And taking out a SAM is not easy. Or cheap. What kind of value are we talking?
Okay, 2 quick examples. November 2024, they hit a Russian Tor air defense system in Donetsk. That's a $25 million piece of hardware.
Wow.
But the big one was October 2024. They hit a Buck M3 system, which is top of the line. It's valued at maybe $100 million, and they hit it from 60 kilometers away with a drone.
That's insane. A low-cost drone taking out a $100 million air defense system.
It proves the model. This brings us back to the Gerbera problem. Nemesis can't kill tanks, they can kill SAMs, but they still have to solve the economic riddle of the $10,000 decoy.
Right. How do you fight that without going broke? This is the economic battle.
The only way to win is with drone-on-drone interception. You simply cannot fight a $10,000 drone with a $1 million missile. You have to fight cheap with cheaper.
And that's where the 412th Dark Node Battalion comes in.
Precisely. Dark Node is pioneering the use of these special interceptor drones. In just 2 months, March and April of 2025, they took down 60 Russian drones, Shaheds and Gerberas, using these new systems.
Okay, let's just nail down the cost difference, because that's the whole story.
It's mind-blowing. These Ukrainian interceptor drones, like one called the Sting, they cost about $5,000 a pop.
$5,000. So you're spending $5,000 to destroy a $10,000 decoy.
Or a $150,000 Shahed. You're winning the economic exchange every single time. It preserves your expensive Western missiles for the really high-value threats. It's the only sustainable strategy.
And Ukraine's chief of staff, Artem Belinkov, he claimed this was a world first.
He did. He said Ukraine is the first country in the world to successfully destroy strategic strike drones using other drones. It's proof that the future of air defense has to be layered and it has to be economically viable.
But while Nemesis is fighting this war inside Ukraine, the Gerbera threat, it doesn't stop at the border. This is where we see the geopolitical spillage into Europe.
This is where the Gerbera's low cost makes it the perfect tool for hybrid warfare. Russia can launch one of these to provoke NATO,
Right.
and if it's shot down,
Right.
well, it's deniable. It wasn't a cruise missile. It was just a cheap drone.
And we saw some very specific, very aggressive incidents in 2025 that show this was intentional.
Absolutely. In July 2025, Lithuania reported 2 Gerbera drones crossing into their airspace from Belarus. One crashed, but the second one,
Yeah.
this is the chilling part, was found armed with 2 kilos of explosives.
Armed.
Armed. And it was found near a major military training area.
So that's not an accident. That is a deliberate probe, a message.
That's how analysts saw it. A test of Lithuania's reaction time, their surveillance. But then things escalated over Poland in September.
The incident with the 19 drone incursions.
Yes, a large swarm, including Gerberas, crossed into eastern Poland. It forced NATO to scramble F-35s to intercept them.
F-35s. So you've got a $100 million fifth-gen stealth fighter being sent up to chase a $10,000 foam and plywood drone.
Think about that. It's a tactical nightmare for a NATO commander. It proves that what Nemesis is doing back in Ukraine, destroying that launcher on the ground, is directly contributing to the security of the entire alliance.
Every launcher they take out is one less platform that can be used to test NATO's eastern flank.
100%. They're fighting the same enemy, the same systems that are being used to probe Poland and Lithuania.
So when we put this all together, what's the big picture? That Christmas Day strike by the Nemesis Brigade, it's more than just one explosion.
It symbolizes this massive adaptation. Ukraine is moving from a reactive posture, just shooting things down, to a proactive strategy of dismantling the entire apparatus of Russia's drone war.
The key takeaway seems to be that cheap, mass-produced drones, like the Gerbera, have just completely rewritten the rules of defense economics.
They have. The war is no longer just about whose tech is better. It's about whose budget can survive the attrition. The side that can destroy threats for the lowest cost, they have the advantage.
Which leaves us with a huge question for the future, doesn't it? If this new era of war is defined by $10,000 decoys made from off-the-shelf parts, how can Western air defenses systems designed to fight multi-million-dollar jets possibly adapt to win this economic fight?
And the solution might be exactly what Nemesis is doing. You have to embrace the $5,000 interceptor drone. And more importantly, you have to shift your focus from swatting every single bee out of the air to finding and destroying the hives on the ground, the factories, the supply lines, the launch crews. That's the new frontier.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Arya, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Oh, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.